Check out Paddy Power's new and exclusive Cash Card Plus, available to use online, at ATMs, or even down the local. Paddy Power, you beauty.
Hello and welcome to the Racing Postcast. It's a very special bank holiday bumper edition. There's 22 meetings over the next 3 days. And what are bank holidays for, if not a 72-hour betting and boozing bender? I'm joined by the excellent Lee Morrishead in the studio. Hi, Lee.
A betting and boozing bender?
Yeah, you do that, don't you?
Betting and boozing bender?
Yeah, 72-hour.
I thought about making a white chocolate and raspberry cheesecake. That was one of my most exciting.
We all have our vices.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And on the line, David Jennings in Ireland. How are you doing, David?
Hello, Tom.
You'd be a fan of a 72-hour betting and boozing bender, wouldn't you?
I would, and whatever Lee is thinking of making as well. I'd be a fan of that as well.
Thank you.
Excellent. And from Paddy Power, Rob Casterson. How are you, Rob?
Yeah, I'm good, Tom.
Fantastic stuff. Well, listen, we have absolutely tons to get through, so we might as well crack on directly to Musselburgh's card on ITV tomorrow. It's a largely new card. They've got a new 100,000 race called the Queen's Cup Handicap, which they're hoping will become part of the staying handicap sort of season. Let's start with you, Lee. What do you fancy for this one, the big one at 3:35 Saturday?
Well, first of all, big up to Musselburgh. The racing team there, headed by Bill Farnsworth, are very, very keen to, as you say, boost the profile of Musselburgh. They've worked really hard on this card. They've got it as the main ITV4 card tomorrow, so fair play to them. And they've got a strong handicap. The normal people you'd expect to be in a big Musselburgh handicap, the Johnsons, the Fies across this race and the Royal Mile. But I think this one might go to Ireland. Carbon dating. Pat Shanahan sends plenty of horses across to the north of Britain, and he's done that here with Carbon Dating, a horse whose RPRs improved a lot over the winter when he's racing for a different yard in the Middle East. Did well there, improving his RPR figures for the previous year when he had a similar little winter holiday, and I wouldn't be surprised if, with fitness on his side, he could be the one to beat.
And David, do you agree with that? He's tipped up one of your boys?
I've been dreading this day because having the main meeting on a Saturday at the one racetrack in England that I can't pronounce is really a chore.
England?
Yeah, I call it for 31.
David, rewind, David, rewind.
Musselburgh in England.
For 31 years of my life, I've been calling it Musselburgh.
Yeah, but that's not the worst part.
Yeah, that's not the problem. It's in Scotland, not England.
Oh, sorry. I didn't even know I said that. I know it's in Scotland. I didn't realise I said that.
That's a shocker.
Sorry,
No.
Tom. I know you've got your...
This podcast has got off on the wrong note entirely now, hasn't it?
I know you're sitting there with your kilt and everything.
Absolutely
but,
fuming,
yeah, it's actually Musselburgh, as Bruce
Lovely.
taught me a few weeks ago.
But
anyway, in the key race at Musselburgh, I fancy Ishara of Mark Johnson's. I thought it was really interesting that he was kind of gearing his whole season over running the horse on Good Friday in the big staying contest, but I think it's quite clever what he's done here because he's obviously got Waters Meat in that, who's rated 105, and Ishara just hasn't made the improvement that he thought he would. He's rated 95 now, but it's ideal for this race and everything seems to be in his favour. He's drawn in stall 1. I think he's improved really, really well through the winter. Like, if you go back to December, he was rated 78. He's rated 95 now. He's got a great attitude. And Musselburgh is a track that I think you need to race prominently. Like, if you go back through a lot of Musselburgh races, especially the staying races, it's very, very hard to come from off the pace. And it seems to help kind of front runners towards the rail, towards the head of affairs. And I think Ishara ticks plenty of boxes.
Excellent insight there. Rob, what do you think? And could you give us a quick rundown of the prices as well?
Yeah, it's Ishara who heads our betting. We're 6-1 Ishara. Shrewd, which would be a local winner, is a 7-1 chance. It's also 7's Angel Gabriel, 8-1 Montali, Sir Chauvelin and Soldier in Action, 12-1 Carbon Dating, Lee's Fancy, and it's 14's Bar. I actually like the other Mark Johnson or Soldier in Action. Obviously, he's coming back from running over hurdles. It didn't really work out for him in the Triumph hurdle, but he ran well in races like the November Handicap and the Queen's Vase last season. And I agree with David, you need to be prominent around Musselburgh. This lad will be prominent, and he just could be given a typical Fanny Norton ride, and he could be hard to peg back.
Excellent. For what it's worth, and I was just talking about how I don't give out tips out of respect for the listeners, but I do fancy Angel Gabriel in this, who's got Paul Hannigan up.
Are you not the same man that backed Special Tiara in the Queen Mother?
Well, I did, yeah, but I didn't tip it though. officially.
Just to his friends.
backed it.
Yeah. I also backed the Grand National winner as well. Maybe I should
We
be
both
tipping.
backed the Grand
We both
National.
did.
We
That's-
did, yeah.
That's astonishing, that, actually.
Yeah. I had 5 in the race, though. So
So did I.
But that's still 35 against us.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And 5 was quite restrained for my...
Go on, Arthur.
But yeah, anyway, Paul Hannigan rides. He's only had 5 rides at Musselburgh in the last 5 seasons. But before that, before he got his big retainer, he was an absolute maestro around there. He had a 40% strike rate in 2010. He rides it really well, and I'm looking forward to seeing him back at Musselburgh once again. But moving on to the other TV races at Musselburgh, we've got the 150, which is the Easter Saturday handicap. Lee, any thoughts?
One of the features of this year will be the reunion between Fye and Hannigan. It's sort of come through circumstance, through Paul losing that position with Hamdan Al Maktoum, but I think he'll have a huge amount of success for Richard this year. Penwortham, probably start a favourite here, got up close home to win at Chester last season, bound to be a progressive sort this season, and would be my one in this one.
Great stuff. DJ, do you have any thoughts on that one, or indeed for the other 2 ITV races, which are the Border Lescott Sprint Trophy at 2:25 and the Royal Mile Handicap 3 o'clock?
I actually agree with Lee in the 150. I think Penwortham is interesting. He has looked at different animals since he's been gelded. I remember him winning his maiden at Wolverhampton, I think back in summer a couple of years ago, and showed a real good attitude that day. And then he completely went off the boil. And I think being gelded has made a man of him, in a sense. Is that the right phrase? Being gelded has made a man of him?
It's an interesting way of going about it.
It's almost the exact opposite, because...
Yeah.
Being gelded bizarrely has made a man of him, but I thought his performance that closed last season at Chester was really good. It's not easy to kind of come from behind on the outside at Chester, and he did it off a mark of 82. Now he's obviously £6 higher here, but I thought that was a really good performance under Tony Hamilton that day. And as you guys said already, Hannigan and Fahy, I think it's great to see them back together. I've still great time for Paul Hannigan. I know he lost that job, but I certainly don't think he's lost any of his ability. And in the 225, I like Line of Reason. Now, I know Monsieur Joe is probably going to be a shorter price of the 2 Paul Midgley runners, and he's rated £9 higher than Line of Reason. But I think Line of Reason is more interesting for the fact that he's been running in Maidan, and you'll see that he finished 8th of 11 the last day, but he missed a break that day and never really got into it. But I thought he ran well behind Krypton Factor the time before. I thought he like really stayed on that day, stayed on strongly, and he's a 7-year-old, but he seems to be holding his form quite well. Whereas Monsieur Joe is a 10-year-old, hasn't ran in 259 days. Like, I think at the moment they're around 7-4 and 4-1, but I think they're going to get much closer together. I wouldn't actually be hugely surprised if Line of Reason was vying for favouritism come the off.
Excellent. And Rob, what's your thoughts on the rest of the Musselburgh card?
Yeah, in that 150, I thought Twin Appeal had a good chance. He's got good course and distance form. I gave him a good chance there. Mail Shot, I thought, in the 3 o'clock, another Mark Johnson horse. He's very consistent. He missed the start of Challenge for the last day, and he still managed to win. He's a front runner, so he won't be far away. And in that sprint that DJ was talking about, I very much have Line of Reason ahead of Monsieur Joe, but I'm pretty sure Paul Midgley hasn't had a winner this year. I think he's 0 from 39. He's got 3 in the race, and that would give Lexington Abbey a big chance. Kevin Ryan's horses are going great. Last 12 runners, 11 of them have either won or been placed. So I think Lexington Abbey could beat the 3 Paul Midgley runners in that sprint.
Goes well fresh, that horse too, Lexington Abbey.
Yeah.
Just worth mentioning, 3 o'clock at Musselburgh, the other valuable handicap there, the Royal Mile. William Haggis has his Nova man in there. William has a 47% strike rate at Musselburgh over the last 5 years, and that's based on quite a few runners, 8 from 17. So big up to him. And also, what a man DJ is. During his discussion of that Musselburgh race, he used the phrase, I remember him seeing him win his maiden at Wolverhampton 2 years ago.
That is remarkable.
For anyone,
Horses are the only thing I have a good memory for.
And that's just a maiden, and you remember seeing him
I
in a
don't
maiden at
remember
Wolverhampton.
seeing anything at Wolverhampton ever, to be honest. And I've been there.
My cap is doffed to you, DJ.
Thanks, Lee.
Well done, DJ. Right,
Thanks, lads.
He's good. He's good.
You're not going to say well. You're not going to say well done, Rob. What did I do with you?
I've given you enough compliments over the years.
Listen, one more well done, because I've got to announce the winner of this week's free bet. On Monday's show, we asked, what was the SP of Grand National winner at One for Arthur? quite an easy question, actually, I think.
It was a good question,
Yeah,
easy
it's solid.
question. Yeah. It was a bit like, but
it's
like
accessible, isn't
when
it?
you watch This Morning or whatever, they always have questions that you've got a fair chance of answering.
Yeah.
Inclusive.
It's dumbing down, though, isn't it?
I think inclusive is probably what the
okay.
producer would prefer you said.
It was 14-1, anyways.
Was it 4? I thought it was 16.
Well, there we go.
would've
Not
got that wrong.
I
not
backed
that
him
easy,
18s.
actually. All right, okay. Well,
That's right,
not
yeah.
that easy. Anyways,
What
congratulations.
price do you get, Tom?
16-1. Pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Actually, my 18s were with Paddy Power's sister company, Betfair.
is that right? Well, you'll be pleased to hear that, Rob, won't you? Except you won't, because... you
Oh, I
won.
don't mind. I don't mind Lee making a few quid off us.
Yeah, I mean,
bless.
you're all a happy family, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's the spirit. That's the spirit. And congratulations to David O'Farrell from Dublin, who wins a €25 free bet from Paddy Power. And there'll be another free bet up for grabs on Monday's show. And now, quick advert, and then we'll be back in a second.
Introducing Paddy Power's Hot Trot Jackpot, their new free-to-enter horse racing competition. Every Saturday, pick 5 horses in a free Lucky 31 bet for your chance to win the guaranteed £10,000 jackpot. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back again. We'll look now at the other races on ITV. But actually, before we do that, I thought it'd be interesting, Lee, to have a quick chat about your very interesting piece yesterday, your special report looking at ITV's viewing numbers so far. Now, for those of our listeners who haven't heard this, basically the findings were, well, do you want to sum it up? I mean, they've lost a lot of viewers against Channel 4.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of this week looking at numbers, double-checking numbers, triple-checking numbers, which were very kindly supplied by the two broadcasters, ITV Ratings. Current broadcaster in Britain, Channel 4, had held that role for the previous 4 years. In a nutshell, if you look at like-for-like meetings, and there are about 4 days when I took them out because there wasn't a like-for-like comparison possible. If you combine the afternoon programming and the morning programming, and you bring in ITV and ITV4's programmes, then at the minute ITV is about 3.3, 3.4 million viewers behind Channel 4. That's inflated by the Grand National programme, which of course is way more than anything else to an extent. And Channel 4 had a good Grand National relative to ITV this year when the weather didn't help. So the basic story is ITV is well behind Channel 4, but a lot of that is because of the ITV4 programming in the mornings and the afternoon. The morning show, the opening show, hasn't been rating particularly well, had only 31,000 viewers on the Thursday of the Grand National Festival. Had a much bigger audience on the Saturday, had about 192 on the Saturday, which for ITV4 is very good. In the afternoons, it's polling a fair way behind what Channel 4 did last year, but, and it's a big but, this was expected, and when the racecourse rights holders sold the rights to ITV, they knew and they said they expected ITV4 to rate behind Channel 4. The Grand National, I think, I'm relaxed about it. It was a blip, I think, the fact that the Grand National audience was 8.24, lower than Channel 4's 10 million. Sometimes the Grand National does rate like that. McCoy's year, Don't Push It, was 7.6 on BBC One, and the weather was particularly good. I think the racecourse rights holders that sold the rights and therefore made the big decision, for them it was all about the big days on the main channel, and I think they'll be particularly looking at the Derby and Royal Ascot. They went downhill badly on the Channel 4, despite the coverage being very good. The ratings just weren't great, and I think if they perform much better, the rights holders will be very happy indeed. If they don't make significant improvement, I think they'll be thinking, ooh, did we make the right call?
Yeah, because obviously, you know, the big problem is that so many of the regular Saturdays are now on ITV4, which is way down in the digital TV guides. You know, Jesus, it takes me about half an hour to find it, and you know, people just aren't seeing it. You know, I mean, should racing be worried that it's losing so much weekly audience?
I'm relatively relaxed about it. I mean, clearly it's not great that racing has lost 3 million viewers, although of course it's not 3 million viewers in a sense. It's the same people over
total,
absolutely, yeah. It's still free to air, and it is for the next 4 years. From 2021, who knows? If Sky were very big on trying to get the rights this time around, they didn't quite succeed. They might well succeed next time, and if they do, you might find there are between 2 and 10 days on mainstream television. All I would say is for the folks that are getting very het up about racing appearing on ITV4 and not ITV, I spent last Sunday night up until about 1 a.m. in the morning watching the Masters Golf.
A late night for you, Lee.
Late night, very late. I'm normally in bed by news night.
That is strong.
Very late night for me. Now, I don't have Sky Sports at home because I'm not a big football fan, which puts me very much against the normal trend. So I watched the Masters on the BBC, compared excellently by Hazel Irvine, who was leaving the golf coverage last time. Good woman. That Masters final day was the last day of live mainstream golf on free-to-air television until the Saturday of next year's Masters. There are 2 days of live golf in the whole calendar on British TV. There's no cricket on live British TV. The fact there are still nearly 100 days of free-to-air horse racing on British TV puts racing massively in a different league to other sports. It gets way more than it actually merits based on numbers, and therefore, although things aren't great at the moment, I think racing still has an awful lot to sing about.
What do you think, David? Obviously, I know there's some people in Ireland can't even get ITV4, can they?
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky, as you said. Even finding the channel is tricky. It was always going to be hard for ITV. A couple of things that I always use my dad. My dad is 60, early 60s. He is a racing fan. He goes to Cheltenham every year. Wouldn't follow racing during the week, but would always do maybe a lucky 15 on a Saturday, and will go to Punchestown maybe for a day. We'll go to the Grand National Ferry House, and I use him, and he's actually an identical twin, and his brother is very, very similar, and they do everything together. And I use them as a gauge sometimes just to see what they think, because we're engrossed in it, and it consumes our whole lives racing. So it's nice to see what people that dip in and out think. And both of them said the same thing about, first of all, the opening show program. They think there's not enough previewing of the racing. There's not enough. They don't really have an assigned tipster on the program, which they don't like, because they would have watched it for tips, essentially, the morning line. The charity bets at the end would have been a big thing. They might have done a lucky 15 with them, and they just think it hops a little bit from Billy to Jack. There's some nice features and there's some, but maybe they're just trying to fit too much into. Now, I'm just talking about content. Obviously, this is the smaller scale of things, and it's over. Lee described perfectly the overall scheme of things, but I'm just talking about smaller things. I think maybe they're trying to fit too much into a short space of time on the morning program, and maybe a little bit more tipping might help, perhaps. I don't know. On the afternoon show, I always thought Nick Luck was flawless, to be honest. I actually thought he was so good that people were irritated because he was so good. That was personally, I think he was absolutely excellent. Ed is top class as well. He's obviously not as knowledgeable as Nick about horse racing, but he is very, very good. I just think it's going to take a while for everything to click. The old channel 4 years ago was fantastic, and there was so much humour with Alistair and with Johnny Frankham. And it's just to find the new Alistairs, the new Johnny Frankhams, that new style of where it's as much fun as it is about giving information. That's going to be the next step. And I think they're doing very well so far, but it's getting to the next step now is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing to remember. It's still early days. I thought the Grand National broadcast was fantastic.
Yeah,
I thought they really got the tone.
One of the best. Just before you go on, one of the best pieces of television I have ever seen was the piece they did on JT McNamara at the Cheltenham Festival.
Yeah.
That was like, I was in tears watching it, and this was I was going to say I had taped it, but you don't tape anymore. I had Sky Plus'd it, and I watched it back the other day, and it was one of the most moving pieces of television I have ever seen. They do stuff like that absolutely brilliantly. Their features are fantastic.
That's because they've got Gabriel Clark, works for ITV Sport, who is an exceptionally good feature maker, and he's been responsible for a lot of those. He did the bomb scare feature on Saturday.
Oh, that was brilliant as well.
Yeah. Well,
that's what they do really well, I think.
And they brought back the Champions theme,
which was your favourite.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Gets me every time, that.
We'll need to get it on the Postcast, won't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
probably rights issues, though.
Maybe. I don't. Well, do you think so?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, who knows? Yeah.
We can't.
That's for the producers to investigate.
Absolutely.
Anyways,
God bless the producer.
We'll not get bogged down in the details, will we?
No.
So, let's go back to the racing. Haydock's the other ITV for racing tomorrow on Saturday. And there's 3 races there, and it's the finals day at Haydock. And they start with the middle distance chase series. Final handicap chase.
Yep.
And Lee,
yeah,
thoughts?
good important day for the sport as well. from the jump racing review that happened over here a couple of years ago, this Challenger Series was introduced for mid-tier horses to give those horses and their connections something to aim at. It's worked incredibly well. And in this first one of the finals, I think the one to look at is Monetaire. An 11-year-old chaser, was second at the Cheltenham Festival 2 years ago, hasn't run much since then, has dropped massively down the weights. An encouraging one at Stratford last time. Look, for all the world, like the team were aiming him at this race, and I think he has a big chance.
Great. DJ?
I'm pretty keen on a couple of John Joes. I know it was his birthday during the week, but I'm pretty keen on a couple of his in the opening 2 races. I think Easy Street could still be quite well handicapped. Didn't jump particularly well last time at Fontwell, but I thought he won with plenty up his sleeve. I think he went up £6 for that. He hit the second last hard, but if you watch Aidan Coleman's body language the whole way through the race, he looked quite comfortable, and he always had the makings, I thought, of a decent enough chaser. I think he won twice, maybe last summer, I think, at Fontwell and New Toxter. I thought he would make a better chaser than he has, but I think he got it together the last time at Fontwell, so I think he's interesting in the 205. And I've been pretty keen on Monbeg Gold in the 240 for this final. Now, he was disappointing the last time at Kempton, but he was reasonably well backed. It was the day after Cheltenham. I just wonder, has this been on his radar all season? It's interesting that he ran twice at Newbury in winter. I thought he ran quite well behind Brandon Hill off a mark of 130. He's down £2 from that. He was 5th that day. He wasn't beaten far. I thought he jumped and travelled well. Newbury's a track that I think will suit him. And if you'd have told me this time last year that Monbeg Gold would only be 128 rated chaser, I would have said, no, he's better than that. So I'm going to give Monbeg Gold another chance.
Excellent. And Rob, your thoughts on the Haydock races? I don't know if we've got any betting yet. If you guys have priced them up.
We do actually, yeah. We had them priced up early on. That 205, Sunbuckle and Ballybowlier, the joint favourites at 4-1. Speaking of no planning, or Easy Street, I should say, that the horse DJ was talking about, he ran in a really good bumper on his only run for Willie Mullins, and I suppose after that they thought he was going to be pretty good, but he hasn't really kicked on. I thought Ballybowlier had a chance in that. He was obviously a fairly good novice. He ran in the Grade 1 behind Duvan at Aintree last season. I would have thought this is a race that he could possibly be capable of winning. Obviously, Rattling Rose has been hitting the headlines because of Guy Disney in his last couple of runs. Tom Scudamore takes over in the 240. I thought he'd a big chance in that. And then Midnight Maestro, I thought he was the best of Barry's 3 rides at Haydock tomorrow. He's 2 from 4 over hurdles, and he looks the obvious improver in that.
That's in the 3:15.
3:15, yeah.
Any thoughts?
Before we leave that race, Tom, just worth mentioning limited reserve in the 2 mile final at 3:15. That's Christian Williams' first runner as a trainer. Christian was an excellent jockey, rode loads of winners for Paul Nicholls, including on Denman. He's been assisting at the yard where he now takes over from Di Walter's yard, based in Wales. And I think Christian Williams will be a very good trainer indeed. And I won't be surprised if he starts off with him at Haydock on Saturday.
Big shout. Does he still have long hair?
I've not seen him face to face for a while, but I will be surprised if he doesn't. I always think he's had a sort of a relaxed haircut.
Yeah. Well, I feel that there's room for all types in racing, and we've not got a long-haired male trainer.
No. I've tried growing my hair long in the past, but it reaches that stage where it becomes very difficult to do anything with. I've got quite fine, thin hair, and even with sort of fudge or clay or fibre, I find
fudge.
As a not as in Cadbury's finger off.
Okay.
But a hair product.
Right. Yeah. I'm not an expert, but you certainly have my sympathies.
I think Christian has thicker flowing locks.
He does have some excellent hair. Fair play to him. Now there's something here which I think is a jingle coming up. Is there a jingle coming up? I think it's a Saturday nap jingle.
Ooh,
is it a Saturday nap
jingle? I love a jingle.
Is that right?
This will not be beaten.
It's not really a jingle, but anyways, That was the gong, if you like, the klaxon for Saturday naps. So, Lee, you first.
3:15 at Haydock. Mr. Christian Williams, first runner as a trainer. Hang on, I've forgotten his name now. It was...
Okay, Graham Rodway.
Limited reserve in the 3:15 at Haydock.
Excellent. David?
3:55 at Cork on Saturday. Number 1, nonetheless, trained by John Ox, ridden by Declan McDonough. This filly was so unlucky last time at Leopardstown. I quite fancied it. It was beaten a length and a half by Ace of Diamonds. got no space at all up the home straight, was only beaten a length and a half, finished full of running. It's off the same mark here. Cheek Piece is on for the first time just to help her concentrate. I think she's going to be very hard to beat. Nonetheless, in the 3:55 at Cork.
Wonderful. And Rob?
Yeah, it's Cork for me as well. I think John Oxford will win the first as well, but the best bet for me is in the second of the maidens. Inca Gold was second to that good horse of Tommy Stacks last year, Alexis Comnenos. Disappointed on his first start, but with Cheek Pieces fitted for the first time, I think Inca Gold will win that Blackwater maiden.
Great stuff. Thanks so much, guys. Another quick ad break, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Introducing Paddy Power's Hot Trot Jackpot, their new free-to-enter horse racing competition. Every Saturday, pick 5 horses in a free Lucky 31 bet for your chance to win the guaranteed £10,000 jackpot. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back again to the Racing Pose Bank Holiday Bonanza Tipping Postcast. I'm Tom Kehrer, I'm afraid, and I'm joined by Lee Mottershead, David Jennings, and Rob Casterson. Catterson, sorry. God, Jesus Christ.
Musselburgh. Tomato.
So, I'm sorry, Rob. I'm sorry.
You're not the first to get that wrong.
Ah, God. Are they all in the postcast?
No, that's the first. And it's actually a Scottish name.
Yeah, I mean, well, I can't get anything right, though, so I'm equal opportunities in my areas, pretty much. But listen, let's not dwell on my feelings. Let's head straight to Fairy House, where there's some, obviously, some great racing coming up over the bank holiday weekend. We'll begin with the 205, which is the reappearance of Let's Dance. David, we'll come to you first for this one. What do you reckon?
I reckon she'll win.
Yeah.
That's the short answer. Obviously, it's me, and I'm going to blabble on for Babylon.
Babble.
Babylon.
We're having a lot of difficulty speaking today, which is quite
the rivers of Babylon.
It's quite integral to a postcast to be able to. But anyway, sorry.
So I'll just do a bit of babbling. I think that the trip is key here. I think 2 Mile 4 is perfect for her. She was, she came from a very uncompromising position to win the Dawn Run Mares Novice Hurdle at Cheltenham. She's very, very good, and this race is going to set the tone for this trainer's title. We've got 2 big meetings left at Fairy House and Punchestown, and there's 1.39 million worth of prize money up for grabs over the 3 days at Fairy House. So this is the first €100,000 race of the 3 days, and Let's Dance should win. She's rated 147. I do think Shattered Love is a lot better than she showed in the Neptune. She was bullied by the boys that day. She didn't show anything whatsoever. I do think she's better than that. She gave Let's Dance a fright at Punchestown earlier on this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if she ran better, and she'd be the one maybe at a bigger price that I think could run well. But Let's Dance is very, very good. And for him to run Early Beach, Augusta Kate and Let's Dance in the race, that tells you all you need to know about Willie Mullins wanting to retain his trainer's title.
And Good Time Tara.
Yeah.
It's shaping up to be a fantastic finish to the season. Of course, last year we had the equivalent over on this side of the Irish Sea when we had Willie really going for the British trainer's title, just getting squeezed out of it by Paul Nicholls. What are you guys? What side of the fence are you on? Do you think Gordon Elliott can see it home?
Do you want to go first, Rob?
Yeah, I would have been, obviously I'm a mad Willie Mullins fan, but in recent weeks I've given him no chance. But when you look at this race, if he had the first, second and third in this, he'd probably win the best part of 100 grand. You've got York Hill running as well. You've got handicap hurdles in Cork on Sunday, Fairy House Tuesday. The Irish National literally is going to be maybe the winning and losing for Willie. If Gordon wins it, that's it. It's game over. If Gordon was to be second and Willie didn't win it, it'd probably be game over. But we're 7-4 now, Willie. We're 2-5 Gordon. Willie could cut the gap in half on Fairy House on Sunday alone. And I give him no chance. But when you look at the card more and more, you just say to yourself, he might just be able to pull this off.
Yeah, he's got some big guns coming out. And another one, of course, in the Ryanair Gold Cup Novice Chase is York Hill. Lee, do you think there's any danger there to York Hill?
Well, it's dangerous in the sense that York Hill is sometimes a danger to himself. He clearly needs a bit of managing. Ruby Walsh managed him brilliantly at the Cheltenham Festival. That was a superb ride to win the JLT. Clearly he's on by some way the best horse in the race, but so sometimes York Hill is a bit kamikaze in the way he runs. Looking forward to seeing him again. I think, isn't this a race that Willie's never won, guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
He'll win it this time, though, won't he?
He should, yeah. York Hill, though, is funny. Like, I remember talking at Cheltenham preview nights before the festival, and my theory on York Hill was that I hated the way he jumped, I hated the way he was keen in his races, I hated everything about him, but I thought he was a certainty. And I think that sums him up, is that he basically does everything wrong, but he's got so much natural ability that he gets by. And, the funny thing about York Hill is, though, he was scrambled over the line at Aintree last year when he beat Le Parisienne, and then he was beaten a 4-9 in the novice hurdle at Punchestown. Now, that would be worrying if you were going to take a short price bet York Hill. And the other negative is obviously that the race is right-handed, and he jumps to his left, markedly to his left. And he can probably afford to do so here. He's rated 164. He is, £9 superior to Ball Dark and 11 to Road to Respect. Like, he probably will win, and it's very hard to fancy anything to beat York Hill. But would I back him at 1-2? Not on your Nelly.
No.
Let's look at a race which is a bit more enticing from the betting point of view. The 4 o'clock, the novice handicap chase. David, have you got any fancies in this one?
That's not the 4 o'clock anyway.
325.
325.
Oh, 325. I do. I think Gordon will win this with Third Opinion. Don't Touch It is the most interesting one here, and he could be absolutely chucked in. He's rated 143. He could be in a completely different league, and he could be very short. I don't know if Rob is betting on it yet, but
Not yet,
one
no.
at a bigger price, I think, is Third Opinion. He came back from a huge long absence to win at Clonmel last time. Now, his winning distance, he won by 22 lengths. There was a faller at the second last there, so he was left clear. But he jumped spectacularly, and I'd imagine he'll come on a ton for that run. I don't think he's badly handicapped on the best of his form. He's only rated 122. He used to be with Tom Taff, and he has some good back form. So Don't Touch It will be favourite, will be a short price, but maybe he might be worth taking on with Third Opinion each way.
Thanks, David. Anything else, guys, from either Fairy House or anything else at any meeting we've not spoken about? Lee is shaking his head, so that is a
I've got nothing else on Sunday.
A firm no from Lee. David?
We could have a star run in the bumper. The Tatterstall's €100,000 bumper is on, and a horse called Red Jack that's trained by Noel Meade that has been bought by JP McManus. He beat De Boucher, who was second in the champion bumper at Cheltenham and then has since won at Limerick. He beat him very comfortably on his debut at Naas. He was owned by Noel's wife, Derville, and she obviously sold him for potentially huge money. But Noel has said that nothing can take this horse off the bridle at home, which is quite interesting. So I'd imagine he could be very good. Red Jack in the bumper. And one of Noel's that might run well earlier on in the card, I think, is in the 220. Now, this could be a big price. Clara Sorrento didn't look like he stayed last time. That was over 2 mile 6 at Navan. He travelled well for a long way. He was beaten a long way, but that was bottomless ground. I think he was second to run for Dave in a bumper at Down Royal, and he's rated 116. I think he could be a bit better than that. So I think he could run well. Clara Sorrento in the 220.
Great information. Thanks, David. Rob, anything from yourself that you're looking forward to we've not mentioned?
Yeah, I'd be very sweet on Don't Touch It. I know he has to give weight all round, but there's no doubt about it. He's a Grade 1 horse. He was a good winner last season at Punchestown, and I'd say they're lining him up for the Grade 1 at Punchestown after winning this. And just on that bumper, obviously Red Jack is going to be very hard to beat. It's interesting that Patrick doesn't ride the Willie Mullins horse. He goes to Cork for a couple of rides. Patrick, of course, and Jamie Codd are going hammer and tong for the amateur championship, and I think the fact that Patrick goes to Cork for a couple should be worth taking on board.
Lovely stuff. Rob, we'll stay with you and we'll look at Monday for the Irish Grand National, which we just had declarations for, with Gigginstown, a remarkable 14 of the 30 runners. Are you betting on Gigginstown to win it? Because they wouldn't be too long, would they?
No, well, we were 2-1 Gordon. We haven't got a price in Gigginstown, so obviously if they 4 more runners than Gordon, they're going to be probably about a 6-4 chance. It's shaping up to be a brilliant race. Great to see our Duke declared the Grade 1 winner from Christmas. He's going to be, I'd say, he's going to be the shortest price favourite for quite some time. Fletcher's Flyer, obviously, he's got his fans. Noble Endeavour's one of Gordon's 10. Listen, we've talked about it on the Irish trainers front. It's possibly going to be the race which maybe wins it for Gordon or keeps Willie in the race. It's going to be a cracking renewal, but this RG could be thrown in, but we're going to have to wait and see. But the way Jesse's horses are going, you'd find a brave lad not to tell you to back him at 4s.
You're a brave lad, David. What are you backing?
Yeah, he deserves to be favoured, our Duke. I just worry a little bit about his jumping. He's not a natural. They've done loads of work with him, but them Fairyhouse fences really do take some jumping. There could be carnage in this race, and as a novice, I just wonder, will they find he is obviously the most interesting, but the one I backed is Fletcher's Flyer. He was 16-1 earlier on in the week. I thought that was very, very fair. I was reading an interview with Harry Fry from last November, I think, or possibly October, and he was asked about Fletcher's Flyer, and he says his whole season has been geared towards the Irish National, and we're working backwards. He needs to go right-handed. He needs a long trip, and he likes decent ground. So he obviously won at Punchestown last year. He won the 3 Mile 5 handicap chase in quite decent style that day. His handicap mark has been reasonably well preserved. He's only off 145. He's a front, like he likes to race prominently, and I think that's certainly a bonus around Fairyhouse. He's a good jumper, and I thought he ran well in the Reynolds-Town at Ascot. Fletcher's Flyer for me.
What price is that, Rob?
Fletcher's Flyer, second favourite at the moment at 10-1.
10-1. And Lee, yourself, any fancies for the?
I think I do find it fascinating that Jigginstown have got 14 runners in the race. I've written about this in the past, and it sort of divides opinion, but I think it's a shame. I don't think it's a positive for the race or for Irish jump racing that one owner has 14 out of the 30 runners in a handicap like this. And I'd also sort of pray for Desi with 14 Jigginstown runners and all those different colour caps. I would hate to be the man in the commentary box trying to call that one.
It's going to be a nightmare. Do they even have enough colours?
Well, they have to have sashes, won't they, or something?
I think some of them are wearing hurling helmets as well.
Is that right?
I think it's a shame. I think the fact that 17 of the 30 are owned by Jigginstown or JP is a shame.
Give me some positive news. It's a great race, Lee.
It is a great race, but I think it's spoiled by one owner having 14 runners.
If it was an Ascot now, you'd be ranting and raving saying how brilliant a race it is.
No, listen, if it was the Royal Hunt Cup and 14 rowed by Godolphin, I'd be saying that is but it reflects the way things are in Irish jump racing, and I think it is worrying. But I think Jigginstown will win it, and I sort of hope they will too, because I've backed Tiger Roll. The 4 miler at Cheltenham every year gets a better and better race. And this lad was really impressive. I mean, who'd have thought a Triumph Hurdle winner would win the 4 miler at Cheltenham? But he did. It feels like he's been around forever. He's only 7. Travelled like a dream at Cheltenham. Won really well. I could just
Have you backed this horse yet, Lee?
I have. Yeah, you're going to give me some. You're going to give me some awful news now, aren't you?
No, not awful news, but just from talking to people and my eyes. The Cheltenham fences are a hell of a lot easier to jump than the Fairyhouse fences.
That's a bold statement, isn't it?
Oh, no. Just ask any of the jockeys in Ireland. I did a piece with Katie Walsh and Ross Sullivan, and they said if you put the Fairyhouse fences and transported them into Cheltenham, there will be carnage.
Right.
Absolute carnage. They're huge. They're brilliantly presented fences at Fairyhouse, but they're big and they take jumping. And Tiger Roll loved the fence at Cheltenham because he could flick through the top of them. He jumps low. And I just worry, is there going to be too much in those fences for Tiger Roll? That's my worry. Like, he'll probably go out and win now. But I just wonder, does he jump too low for Fairyhouse?
So you're just thinking he won't even get to, Ballyhack first time?
Yeah, Ballyhack, top of the hill. I don't know. Like, I just don't think the shape that he makes over his fences will suit Fairyhouse. But look, that could be bullshit.
Well, that is quite depressing for me, but thank you, DJ.
Yeah.
Wait, harsh truths. That's what we deal with in the podcast, isn't it?
That's life in general.
It is life in general.
Facing
it
up
is
to
life
harsh
in general.
truths.
But not on a bank holiday. So hopefully we have given you some great winners. Actually, just before we leave, just if there's anything that you fancy over the next 3 days that we haven't mentioned, speak now if ever hold your peace. DJ?
I'm trying to think of what other races there are. Go to Rob first.
Rob?
Yeah.
It was a good hand pass there, Rob.
Yeah, it was. Well, luckily for Lee, I've backed Tiger Roll in the Irish National, so hopefully we'll have bragging rights over DJ.
Sorry, lads.
Yeah, there's nothing else. I'd say just watch out for Willie horses in the handicaps. He's well represented over the 3 days between Cork and Fairyhouse, so I'd say he'll have something well handicapped.
I have one for you.
Well done.
Yeah, it's in the 440. That Glascairn handicap hurdle. It's a €100,000 handicap hurdle on Tuesday, and it is a horse train. It could be a big player in Gordon Elliott's bid for the title. A horse called Vineyard, trained by Gordon, with 6 to Ballyandy in the Betfair hurdle off a mark of 126. He's only off 123 in Ireland. He's relatively lightly raced, and I think they think he's got a few pounds up his sleeve. So Vineyard, Veinard in the 440 at Fairyhouse on Tuesday.
And I'm at Kempton tomorrow, and I had a positive word from Marco Botti on Velvet Revolution in the Queen's Prize. Famous old race at Queen's Prize, last race at Kempton. And our Racing Post news editor, Mr. Andrew Scutts, who is itching to get on these podcasts.
He is dying to get on this show.
Itching to get one.
Absolutely, yeah.
So much so he said we had to pass on that he very much fancies Simon Dow's Roundabout Magic to complete a hat-trick in the 5:05 at Brighton, the Streamline Taxis 2020 handicap.
I feel in the reader's interest, so I have to point out here that Andrew backs every Simon Dow runner.
Well, there is that. He is unfailingly loyal, but he was particularly sweet on Roundabout Magic.
Okay.
But you are right.
Yeah, but there we go. Listen, an absolute feast of tips here. Thanks so much to my guests, Lee in the studio, David in Ireland, and Rob from Paddy Power. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. I hope you enjoy your 72-hour betting and boozing benders. I certainly will. Hope you enjoy your cake, was it, Lee?
White chocolate and raspberry cheesecake.
White chocolate and raspberry cheesecake.
Mary
Well,
Berry recipe.
lovely, lovely stuff. And whatever you are doing this weekend, I hope you have a great time. Back lots of winners. Enjoy the bank holiday. And do tune in again on Monday for our review show, in which we'll also be looking ahead to the Craven meeting at Newmarket as the flat really gets going. Thanks again, and have a great weekend.
Paddy Power stream all UK and Irish racing live on your mobile, tablet or PC. Unlike some other high street bookies, Paddy Power, you beauty!